Hey there folks, welcome to Spectrum Pulse. We talk about music, movies, art and culture, and it's Billboard Breakdown. Okay, I'll be very honest. I was not expecting this week to be as chaotic and busy as it is. I expected that Kesha would finally cross over again, and we maybe get a few songs from 21 Savage, maybe one or two from Jay-Z. After all, it's not really a radio-friendly album. I didn't see a lot of crossover potential there. And boy, was I wrong, because 9 out of the 10 songs from 444 hit the Hot 100, along with the expected songs from Kesha and 21 Savage, along with singles from Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato that I kind of forgot about. And look, the point is that the week turned out way busier than I personally was predicting. I clearly underestimated the still remaining star power from Jay because it took out a swath of the Hot 100. And in the middle of the summer lull, it'll be fascinating to see what even has a chance of recovering from this. Of course, the one place that Jay-Z didn't quite touch just yet was the top 10, where once again, Despacito by Luis Fonsi, Daddy Yankee, and yes, Justin Bieber holds number 1. Again, it's dominant on streaming, sales, the radio, but that lead is starting to waver a little bit, and the margins are starting to slip, especially on YouTube. Compare this to Wild Thoughts by DJ Khaled featuring Rihanna and Bryson Tiller, which rose up to number 2 on surging airplay and powerful streaming and YouTube, but it also managed to have a particularly rough sales week, so it's an open question whether or not it's going to be a real challenger going forward. It did manage to pass I'm the One by DJ Khaled with Bieber, Chance the Rapper, Quavo, and Lil Wayne. The sales might be a little bit better at number 3, and the YouTube is still monstrous, but streaming and radio presence is actually shrinking. It might have actually peaked there. That's what I like by Bruno Mars at number 4, has clearly peaked, and it has had a particularly bad week on streaming and sales, but still, it's a YouTube monster, and the radio is taking its sweet time dying off, as you would expect in the summer, which is a similar case for Shape of You by Ed Sheeran, still at number 5. It's losing its strengths in YouTube and airplay, just not quite fast enough for some people, and I'm not complaining, I still like it. And it's helped along by Humble by Kendrick Lamar at number 6, kind of struggling too. Propped up on a good sales week, its YouTube is slipping and its radio is dying pretty fast. I predict it's going to be passed by Believer by Imagine Dragons, which is still at number 7 right here, but it's got real airplay traction to compensate for weaknesses in sales and streaming. That will not hold it back that much longer. But this takes us to our new top 10 entry at number 8, There's Nothing Holding Me Back by Shawn Mendes, a song tacked onto a record that would have been improved pretty considerably if actually included on the original edition, because this song, not bad at all. And with great sales and airplay momentum, it might just stick around in the top 10 for a little bit, and I'm actually okay with that. Similar case for Unforgettable by French Montana featuring Sway Lee up to number 9, only it's being propelled by stronger streaming and YouTube to compensate for airplay that can seem a little bit spotty, especially this week. Hopefully there'll be enough to push Body Like a Back Row by Sam Hunt just out of the top 10 once and for all, but for now, it's still clinging on here, with airplay wavering and sales starting to dip, just not fast enough. I want to see this gone. But in contrast to those entries, if you go below the top 10, it was a borderline massacre. So let's talk about our losers and dropouts, and in the latter category, folks, there's a lot here that's gone and probably just will not be coming back. Obviously, I'm most exasperated by the loss of Sign of the Times by Harry Styles. It might miss the year-end list now if it doesn't make a return, and I'm not sure if it will, but it goes bigger than that, taking out The Fighter by Keith Urban and Carrie Underwood, Down by Fifth Harmony featuring Gucci Mane, Swish Swish by Katy Perry featuring Nicki Minaj, Portland by Drake featuring Quavo and Travis Scott, Losing Control by Russ, and How Not To by Dan and Shay, and probably preventing all of these acts from hitting that year-end list. And this before you get to the biggest dropouts, Goosebumps by Travis Scott featuring Kendrick Lamar, T-Shirt by Migos, and Tunnel Vision by Kodak Black. And then we get to the losses. Well, okay, Signs by Drake continue down to 83, and Slide by Calvin Harris featuring Frank Ocean and Migos slip back to 45, but the rest of the losses you could probably point to Jay as being the one responsible. First Say Out by T Grizzly down to 59, Swalla by Jason Derulo featuring Nicki Minaj and Ty Dolla $ign to 65, Passion Fruit by Drake down hard to 67, God, Your Mama and Me by Florida Georgia Line featuring the Backstreet Boys to 69, Thunder by Imagine Dragons rocked down to 70, Crying in the Club by Camila Cabello dripping down to 71, 4am by 2 Chains featuring Travis Scott down to 76, Privacy by Chris Brown to 77, Every Time I Hear That Song by Blake Shelton to 79, Love by Kendrick Lamar and featuring Zacari to 82, The Cure by Lady Gaga plummeting to 84, You Look Good by Lady Antebellum to 87, Somebody Else Will by Justin Moore to 93, and most pleasingly for me, Weak by AJR to 95. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that last one, but these losses, they're very telling, as they're pretty much across all genres. Jay-Z's got that sort of impact and power, or maybe just sheer volume just forced everything down, so you have to wonder what actually survived or thrived. Well, while there are no returning entries, we did get a few gains, most likely building off of Despacito's continued success. Felices Lo Cuatro by Maluma got the big boost to 49, Mi Gente by J Balvin and Willie William got a boost off the debut to 53, joy, and Escapate Conmigo by Wisin and Ozuna continuing up to 72. The other two gains, well, Rake It Up by Yo Gotti and Nicki Minaj actually got a boost to 68 off the debut, joy, and with what I'm expecting is probably driven by a sales discount, Most Girls by Haley Steinfeld surged up to 66, and considering the radio is not catching on here, probably will fall back pretty soon, if not just fall out entirely. But now on to the much bigger story with all these new arrivals, and we have a busy week, starting off with number 94, Famous by 21 Savage.
Gang banging. Everybody kill a nigga, what you claiming? Everybody get it with your nigga flaming. All these chains on a nigga like I'm strangling. Run off with your money, nigga, get some straightening. You knock off gang bangers, I ain't banging. In the hood every day, I'm hanging.
So let me put this on the record now. 21 Savage is not on my reviewing schedule for that next album. Mostly because the schedule is jammed up like you would not believe, but also because it seems like popular consensus that this new 21 Savage record isn't really all that good and in his wheelhouse, and really isn't the sort of hip-hop that I would otherwise like regardless. And as this is the first of two songs that showed up in the Hot 100, okay, I'll give 21 Savage a point for stepping outside of his typical dour, grimy comfort zone, and honestly, I don't quite mind this piano-accented, eerie production. It cultivates a pretty potent atmosphere. Problem though is 21 Savage himself. His slightly hoarse but flat delivery is better suited to something that's dark and gritty, and certainly not the few pitiful times at crooning that he tries a couple times with auto-tune here. And that's before you get to the content, and again, if this is supposed to be a song about celebrating success and fame, why does it feel so melancholy and sad and dirge-like? And why is anyone giving 21 Savage a pass for so many non-rhymes and rhyming phrases with themselves here that even at their best, they feel pretty basic and flimsy? There's not really any punchlines. Look, I'm no 21 Savage fan, you all probably know that, and there are things about the song that might kind of work, but not enough of them. I'd probably skip it. Number 92, Fetish by Selena Gomez featuring Gucci Mane. I can't be the only one who saw this collaboration and thought this would backfire, right? I get that Gucci Mane has more pop crossover appeal these days for some reason, but he and Selena Gomez are in very different worlds. Intersection points between Selena Gomez and A$AP Rocky or The Weeknd, that kind of makes sense, especially for a song titled Fetish. And right from the dank, smoky mix complete with a blocky trap beat and a pretty heavy bass swell, you get that they're trying to update Good For You for 2017. And while I don't think this is bad, it definitely falls short of the original, which yes, I still like. Sure, Selena Gomez is slowly becoming a more sultry and expressive performer, and her playing a Lana Del Rey type is a good look for her, but saying this guy has a fetish for her love strikes me very much as Selena trying to make this sound risque without actually mentioning any real adult sexual fetish. And Gucci Mane, he really doesn't help. Again, this sort of song requires subtlety, or at least some understanding of the atmosphere, and while lyrically Gucci Mane's at least on topic, his flow does not really work with this production, especially with his voice, and he really feels glaringly out of place. Again, I'm still one of those people who actually thinks that Good For You is a pretty decent song, so there's a part of me that is inclined to like this, but again, I know an inferior copy when I hear it. Number 91, Get Low by Zedd and Liam Payne.
Girl, you got the vibe, I'm up for the climb. Get up, hands on your waist, let's go. Get up, girl, you got the vibe, I'm up for the climb.
Okay, so this was a team up I wasn't really expecting. I'll admit that of the One Direction members splitting towards the mainstream, Liam's played a mainstream pop R&B felt the most flimsy, but what this song indicates is that he might just have the least ideas and figures, well, okay, connecting with Zedd gave Alessia Cara another top 10 hit, so why not try it? And, well, at least this is more cohesive than Stay was, but I honestly don't think this is better than Strip It Down. The sharp staccato synth against the busy, rattling, stuttering trap and tropical percussion straight from a major laser cut, just a little bit less color, par for the course when it comes to modern Zedd production. And Liam is just rattling through your standard dance floor cliches that only get kind of interesting on the bridge, where it seems to imply that Liam is very much trying to make a baby with this girl, bring in that new life. But at the end of the day, I can see this just becoming background music for me or at any other club, especially as the hook isn't quite as melodic. Liam doesn't really showcase a lot of dramatic range, and not like the production helps him. And all the backing vocals on the final hook feel very kind of muted for some reason, and I don't know why. I don't know, it's kind of tolerable, but of the One Direction members that are breaking out right now, Liam is just not really impressing me here. Number 90, Marcy Me by Jay-Z featuring The Dream.
I was mixing, cooking coke in the kitchen back when Robin was a piston. Mike was losing to Isaiah, but he soon would get his sixth one. Gave birth to my verbal imagination. Assume a virtue if you have not. Or better yet, here's a verse from Hamlet. Lord, we know who we are, yet we know not what we may be. So maybe I'm the one, or maybe I'm crazy.
So given that we have 9 Jay-Z songs to get through here, and I already reviewed the album at length, I'm going to endeavor to keep this pretty short. And we're starting off with a song that I do like, but not quite love in the same way. I dig the choppy piano sample against the muffled scratch of the beat as Jay-Z retraces the steps through his old hood, full of references to his rougher come-up in previous albums and where he is now, as well as a few passing shots of the modern scene of rappers posing with guns and just firing them off into the air, not actually at somebody, never actually confronting the reality of that violence. But I gotta be honest, what really clicks for me in the song is the Dreams outro, which is perfectly framed and caps off a song what otherwise would be territory that Jay-Z's gone over before plenty of times. It's still good, mind you, but there are better songs on that album. Number 89, Glorious by Macklemore featuring Skylar Grey.
I'm not gonna forget. I made it through the darkest part of the night, and now I see the sunrise. Now I feel glorious, glorious. I feel glorious, glorious.
So when I heard that Macklemore was splitting with Ryan Lewis for a solo album, I had mixed feelings to say the least. I'm not going to deny that their last record was a total mess together, and maybe it could have helped to get some fresh blood in here, but if you're thinking it's going to come with getting Skylar Grey on your hook, you're expecting real trouble. And yet, on the surface, things kind of seemed okay here. Macklemore got himself a piano-driven beat that sure wasn't as textured as something as Ryan Lewis would give him, but it was familiar territory for him, and then Skylar Grey comes on the hook, and I immediately just tune out. I'm sorry, her voice is just way too frail to match up with this sort of gospel swell for which this song is actually trying. You can even tell in the multi-tracking it's going for it, and the slow down the beat for the hook does not help here either. That's before you take a look at the lyrics and where's the flavor? Where's the speedy flows? Where's the intensity? Where's the corny references that at least showcase some detail and personality for Macklemore? Basically, with Glorious, Macklemore made a less interesting, a less kinetic, a less powerful version of Can't Hold Us. And self-congratulations, it looks a lot less interesting from that point of view, and it feels a lot less populous here. He might have made worse songs, but the bigger crime here is that it's dull and generic. And if this is a sign for Macklemore's upcoming debut, yikes, that's not a solo album that I'm really looking forward to. Sorry. Number 86, Moonlight by Jay-Z.
Even when we win, we gon' lose. We got the same fucking flows. I don't know who is who. We got the same fucking watch. She don't got time to choose. We stuck in La La Land. We got the same fucking moves.
Okay, maybe it's just the old school hip-hop fan of me, but I kinda love this song beyond just the great Fuji sample and the pitch shifting that actually works, and the sly wordplay, because while there are plenty of rappers who will call out modern mumble rap and look kinda corny doing so, Jay is actually smart enough to do it well, anchored in the cultural comment on the hook that despite how much these guys might seem to be winning for now, it's not gonna last. They're gonna end up being losers in the end. Hell, it's not even like they own their master tapes and aren't signing bad deals or faking an image that they can't back up. So when the tax man is gonna come for them, they're gonna have to run back to record executives who already have taken off for the hills. And while it does run a little bit short for this sort of song, Jay still finds enough time to mimic their choppy staccato flow for a few bars before just showing how beneath him it is. Yes please, more of that. Yeah, I'm not gonna mince words, I really dig the hell out of this song. As well as number 63, Caught Their Eyes by Jay-Z featuring Frank Ocean.
Take off the coins, still stinging from tears that try to seal. I'm ready for earth, ready for real. Solipsistic admitted, I see you there. So it seems, so you seem. I can't tell if your image is just a flare. In my dreams, in my dreams.
I've heard some debate about how well Frank Ocean works against this sort of old school production with the choppy Nina Simone sample with guitars and the swells of strings, but I actually thought he sounded great. For some odd reason, I find Jay-Z and Frank Ocean fit pretty well together in my mind, which was definitely true in Ocean's in 2013 for Magna Carta Holy Grail, and it's definitely true here. And yet while the first verse might reflect a pretty typical smackdown of modern fakers where Jay-Z grew up with a much more intimidating and stone-faced brand of gangsta, the second verse is what I really love, where Jay-Z puts the name of Prince's former attorney on wax and accuses those grave robbing and profiting off of Prince's estate after he passed away, which flew in the face of what Prince actually stood for throughout so much of his career. And yeah, the vocal fidelity shift midway through the second verse does kind of annoy me a little bit from a production standpoint, but it's still such a potent verse that I cannot complain at all. And to continue on the list of great tracks, number 56, Smile by Jay-Z featuring Gloria Carter.
Good times never fade away. Smile. Even if I'm not with you here today. Smile.
Good morning, friend. Here's your friendly announcer.
There's a lot going on in Smile that I really like. Between the bass-heavy skittering hi-hats that anchor a sample from Stevie Wonder, all the way to Jay-Z following his mother's coming out and realizing his own necessity to open up and step out of the shadows. And that's where you get that massive third verse that touches on everything from facing further disconnection to expensive toys to refocus on reinvestment in his community and future, a bittersweet acknowledgement of those who would just take off of Tidal anyway, robbing both him and the culture to feed themselves, having learned nothing, and then highlighting how that struggle will build black-owned industry will come against stiff resistance from the larger systems who will seek to imprison or delegitimize those businesses. And yet, the more Jay-Z tips his hand to actually doing any of this, even though they might fear him more, he can finally smile with a clear conscience. It's a pretty layered song to break through, and there's a part of me that does think that Jay-Z wishing his mom could have the same money of Marie Antoinette kind of misses the other side of that hubris-driven side of history attached to that figure, but still, it's a great song. And on the topic of vulnerability from Jay-Z, number 55, Kill Jay-Z by Jay-Z.
Let's just keep it real, Jay-Z. Fuck Jay-Z. I mean, you shot your own brother. How could we know if we can trust Jay-Z? And you know better, nigga. I know you do. But you gotta do better, boy. You owe it to Blue. You had no father, you had the armor. But you got a daughter, gotta get softer.
This is the moment where Jay-Z starts dropping the walls, the very first track on the album, and man, it's a meaty one. One extended verse gets echoing sirens, strings, a choppy sample, rough-edged drums, and Jay-Z systematically tearing down his walls as he's forced to face his own demons, from his antisocial attitudes to those to whom he loved, to whom he sold drugs, to the increasingly splintered relationship that he has with Kanye, to the stabbing of a record producer nearly 20 years ago that he still feels guilty about, just how he goaded Solange in the elevator 3 years ago, despite her knowing the truth about it all. It's a harrowing opener and not the sort of thing that Jay-Z has ever really been known to do at this length to start off an album. In other words, it's the perfect opening surprise to a great album, and honestly, it really worked for me. Check it out. Number 52, Sorry Not Sorry by Demi Lovato. So we're going to take a brief break from Jay-Z to talk about Demi Lovato, and can I be the first one to say that I don't quite know what she's doing with her career right now? Last time I heard from her, she was on hiatus from recording, possibly not even coming back, and yet now she's got a new lead-off single, and it's certainly a departure from what I was expecting from her. Huge, bassy backbeat against gospel swell with pitch shifting with some pianos that honestly aren't nearly as well balanced as it should be with that beat, which kind of swamps out everything, as Demi puts together yet another huge kiss-off against the haters that feels like Schadenfreude personified. And look, I'm not really crazy about this song. I've always made it very clear that Demi Lovato sounds much better, and it sounds pretty damn good and raw against rock production. And while I think that gospel could be in her wheelhouse, there's no attitude or bite to this. She honestly sounds a little bit like she's over-singing, and her vocals, they really sound sloppily blended against the rest of the mix, coupled with lyrics that really ring as pretty devoid of detail, honestly kind of disposable, and even then they seem more petty than they should be. I'll be blunt, I think this is a step back for Demi Lovato. I really hope she pulls something together that's better than this. It's not terrible, but it's not good either. Number 51, Family Feud by Jay-Z featuring Beyonce.
We in a whole different mode. The kid that used to pitch bricks can't be pigeonholed. I cooked up more chicken when the kitchen closed. We gon' reach a Billy first. I told my wife the spiritual shit really work. Alhamdulillah, I run through them all. Police home, all these phonies come to a halt.
Okay, I like how Beyonce was sampled and blended into the backing mix here, and she really does click against more of the sparse beats. And Jay-Z calling out both young rappers for not learning their lessons of the past, and older rappers who are trying to co-opt a much younger style, along with a passing shot at Drake's increasing desperation in trying to emulate Jay-Z instead of building up his own distinct identity. I like that. It works too, especially as he calls back to black-owned businesses and bucking against respectability politics that will divide the black community against each other, especially as he's trying to then build some of that legitimacy regardless of that. But I wouldn't quite call this one of my favorite songs on the album, mostly because it can ring as more of a celebration of his own obscene wealth with Beyonce, and that outro can run a little bit long for me. It's a good track, I like a lot of the message behind it, but again, there are better songs on this album. It is a better track than number 47, Bam by Jay-Z featuring Damian Marley.
Fuck all this pretty Sean Carter shit, nigga, ho. Sean was on that gospel shit. I was on the total fucking opposite shit. Stuff $1 million in a sock drawer. That's a war chest in case you need your chest knocked off.
This is probably my least favorite track on 444, mostly because it feels the most out of place, with Jay-Z giving over most of the runtime Damian Marley's hook and outro against the horns and blocky beat, and when Jay does rap, he's focusing on slapping back, and overall not quite as interesting as other songs on this album. Oh, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad track, Jay's wordplay is still on point, but it does feel a little bit more basic overall. I'm not surprised that it's one of the highest debuts. It might actually be the one that sticks around too. What surprised me that actually debuted higher was number 35, 444 by Jay-Z.
See through a woman's eyes, took for these natural twins to believe in miracles. Took me too long for this song, I don't deserve you. I harassed you out in Paris. Please come back to Rome, you make it home. We talked for hours when you were on tour. Please pick up the phone, pick up the phone. I said don't embarrass me instead of be mine.
Now we've got the title track, and the centerpiece of the album that shows Jay-Z breaking down everything that he did wrong with Beyonce, and it's a doozy. I might not like that it took Jay-Z to have a daughter to realize a woman's importance in his life, but I don't think even he is forgiving himself for that, as he runs through how he wasn't there when Beyonce's child was stillborn. There was emotional distance, how the two had some of that distance build up in the relationship as Jay-Z just started cheating on her, and now he has to live with the encroaching fear that someday his children will find out the truth about what he did to their mother, all against a stellar Hannah Williams sample that anchors a killer vocal snippet for the hook and the horns and the guitars that just wail on, and the real shaken emotion that Jay-Z has rarely ever put into his delivery. I have to highlight that. Record all on Beyonce's microphone. I gotta be honest, it's a tour de force of the album. The sort of song that many people, including myself, didn't think Jay-Z was capable of, yet he pulled it off. It's an incredible track. Definitely worth your time. Number 33, Bank Account by 21 Savage.
In my bank account, yeah. 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 In my bank account. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shooters ready to gun you down. Yeah. 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 Ready to gun you down.
So to go from Jay-Z to 21 Savage, look, I'm sorry, step down. Especially when 21 Savage thought what he needed was auto-tune against a faint guitar, glossy synth, sparse hi-hat, and a darker bass beat that's honestly not all that memorable. I will say it does sound marginally sharper than Famous, courtesy some of the bars actually connecting, even if the content is nothing remotely interesting. Seriously, I've been smoking gas and I ain't got no asthma. That's what we're going with here? Seriously? And when was the last time that chingy got referenced in a hip-hop song? Especially when it is being used to rhyme with blingy. Again, seriously. That said, I don't deny that the hook is pretty catchy. It at least gets a little bit closer to the atmosphere where 21 Savage has some limited appeal. So while I don't think there'd ever be a real need for me to seek this out, it's tolerable enough for now, I guess. Number 25, Praying by Kesha.
Praying, I hope your soul is changing. I hope you find your peace, falling on your knees, praying.
Okay, look. I've spent more time on this channel talking about Kesha's business and legal battles than I have been talking about her music. So let's change that, shall we? Because make no mistake, I am thrilled that Praying is on the charts and this high too. But it also serves as a fascinating contrast to Demi Lovato's Sorry Not Sorry. Most because there's a greater sense of balance and dynamics here and a sense of real stakes and pain. And while I'm not quite certain whether this would have the same power if you didn't know about the whole disaster with Dr. Luke, there still is a sense of maturity and gravitas to Kesha realizing that so much of this was driven from him and he needs to face his own demons and burn as she has finally found some peace in herself. And there's a lot to saying that and then moving on. Oh, and that's before the pianos and the strings and the brass built to one of the most propulsive and raw hooks and crescendos that she's ever delivered without a trace of the auto-tune. As her fans, we've always known that she's never needed it. Hell, she's hitting whistle tones on this track. Whoever saw that coming? In short, even critics and folks who have never liked Kesha have found themselves in awe of this. And yeah, for damn good reason. About time that you're back, Kesha. I'm really excited for that next upcoming album. This is everything I was hoping for and more, and if you haven't heard it or given her a chance, you need to. It's something special. And finally, number 23, The Story of O.J. by Jay-Z.
Nigga, house nigga, feel nigga, still nigga,
My name is
still nigga.
only come to buy.
I like that second one. Light nigga, dark nigga, faux nigga, real nigga, rich nigga, po nigga, house nigga, feel nigga, still nigga.
So I know this was the leadoff single. It's got the striking and fascinating video recontextualizing old racist cartoons to highlight the system's view of black men in America, regardless of their wealth and success. It's got some of the most quotable lines, like the derisive snapback at O.J. Simpson to highlight reality. It's got a fascinating sample blend from both Kool and the Gang and Nina Simone. It's got the weight of experience as Jay-Z reflects on misspent money and a need to refocus and teach people how to spend their money well, especially in comparison with rappers who are just gonna front on Instagram. And there is some smart wordplay and double entendres connecting it all together. And while the whole Jewish people own all the property in America, it's a stereotype that's already gotten Jay-Z in trouble for going too broad. It's bound to be misconstrued by too many people who don't get his point. What strikes me as more exasperating about the song is the assertion is how he talks about not spending $2 million to buy a building that's now worth so much more. Look, I live in Toronto. Most of us don't have a free $2 million to throw around, and that can kind of hurt your more populist message on a song like this, even if you know the advice has value and then you're then selling it back to us for $9.99. But okay, regardless, there's a lot that I do like about this song, and while I don't think it's close to being the best on the album, still a solid tune. Happy it charted so well. So yeah, overall I have to say this week was pretty damn great. So much so that I'm having a hard time picking an outright worst of the week. There wasn't really any song I consider outright awful. I think the song that feels most disappointing is Glorious by Macklemore and Skylar Grey, because I think that Macklemore can be a decent rapper, but I still think that's dishonorable mention compared to Famous by 21 Savage, which is just incompetent across the board despite some decent production. Worst of the week, that's definitely there. But for the best, you know what 444 is getting the honorable mention? I gotta give best of the week to Praying by Kesha. Call me a fanboy all you want, that song has maturity and the sort of firepower these charts could really use and shows a real evolution for Kesha as an artist. And in Just World, it will get some real chart traction, it might even become a hit. It's got some radio boost right now. Let's hope it sticks around. But really, I could see a good 4 or 5 of these Jay-Z songs also sticking well if the streaming holds up, so we'll see. But until then, I'm Mark, you're watching Billboard Breakdown on Spectrum Pulse, and I'll see you next time.